There is a drastic difference between what I think and what analysts think Apple is going to report for their Q4 numbers here in a couple weeks. I'm going to share with you guys today what I believe Apple will report for numbers versus what analysts expect and versus what Apple did last year. I cannot wait to share this with you guys today. Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is a financial education channel, and today we are talking Apple and we're talking Q4 numbers. I thought this would be a great video to do today because Apple was featured on my 3 stocks I'm buying now video for the month of October, and there's a dramatic difference between what I believe Apple is going to report for numbers versus what the analysts believe Apple is going to report for numbers in this quarter. It's a huge difference, and I'm going to share with you guys why I believe these differences are and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get right into this, guys. I'm really going to enjoy sharing this with you guys today. So on your screen now, you are going to see a little spreadsheet there on Apple Q4 earnings. What I have in the all the way left column, I have the figures, or not the figures, I guess you could say line items there: EPS, revenue, iPhone units, iPad units, and services. Next over, I have last year, which is the last year what they did for numbers in this quarter. I have what analysts have and what they're thinking the company will do for this past quarter. And I have what Jeremy thinks, which is me, what I think Apple is going to do for numbers. So dramatic differences here. First off, EPS. Last year they did $1.96 in EPS. Analysts believe they're going to only do $1.65 in EPS this quarter. So they believe this quarter is going to go down quite substantially in EPS. I actually believe that EPS is going to go up versus last year. I believe they're going to earn between $2 and $2.10. Now, I'm going to give you the specifics on why I feel all of this at the end. I just want to go through the numbers first. Revenue. Revenue last year, they earned $51.5 billion in revenue. Analysts believe they're going to earn $46.8 for this quarter. I feel they're going to do $54 billion. Once again, a dramatic difference between what analysts think and what I think. We're talking $7.2 billion in difference there. Huge difference. iPhone units, Apple last year did 48 million iPhone units. Analysts don't have, or at least I can't find numbers for any analysts for any of this stuff. I believe they're going to do 51 million iPhone units. iPad units, last year they did 9.8 million iPad units. I believe they're going to do 10.5, which is finally getting back to growth for the iPad. Services, last year they did 5 billion. This year I feel like they're going to do 6 billion. So, starting at the bottom with services. Services has been growing and growing and growing. Last quarter, year over year, services grew 19%. So I'm basically saying services is going to stay a little bit right around there, maybe just grow a tad bit more, maybe grow 20%, and that's how I come up with the $6 billion number I believe they'll do in services. iPad units, you notice I have those finally growing. One of the reasons being is last year, in that quarter, they did not ship the iPad Pro. The iPad Pro did not ship until November. So this quarter, they've had iPad Pro, sell through the entire quarter. And I think that will be a big factor. Not just the huge iPad, but they had the iPad Pro, which is now the smaller, the regular size iPad, I guess you could say, the 9.7 inch. That's full sell through for the entire quarter. So I believe iPad will finally get back to growth there. iPhone units. The analysts, I would say, are expecting iPhone units to get down quite substantially, and I'm expecting them to be up even versus last year. Not only not down, not even break even, I'm expecting them to be up. This is for a few reasons. One, it's the main product cycle. Every time Apple comes out with I guess you could say, okay, iPhone 4, that was a hot seller. iPhone 4S, that was a little slower. iPhone 5, huge sales. iPhone 5S, just did okay. iPhone 6, huge growth. iPhone 6S, not so much. I believe this is going to stay that way. iPhone 7, I believe, is going to be a hot seller. A lot of people put it down, and I think it has a lot of great innovation in it. I think it's a great product. I think a lot of people are going to be buying it. I think a lot of people already have bought it. I can tell you, I know more people that have bought the iPhone 7, personally in my life. I know more people than have bought any generation before that within the first month. Now, I'm just one person. I know maybe, 20, 30 people in my family and friends and whatnot. So take it for what it is. But I really think it's going to outsell any previous iPhone. This iPhone in the quarter was 9 more days. So sell-through was 9 more days extra versus last year. This year, the iPhone became available on September 16th. The previous year was September 25th. So there was hardly any new iPhone sales in last year's quarter versus this year you got 2 full weeks in there. A little over 2 full weeks of iPhone sales in this one. So, and then the icing on the cake is Samsung with the whole fire issue. The Note 7 was supposed to be the greatest smartphone ever. I've seen so many tech people say, Note 7, greatest smartphone ever, blah, blah, blah. Samsung just comes out with a great hit, and then it has this fire problem. The recall in Samsung's brand, in my opinion, has been damaged irreversibly for a long, long time to come. This is like a huge, if a restaurant had a huge E. coli situation or something and tons of people died from it, this is like their situation, in my opinion. It is going to damage their brand for a long, long time, guys, in my opinion. I don't see how they recover from this. I think people are just going to make fun of Samsung now. It's a phone that catches on fire and things like that. I think it's going to scare a lot of people to even buy the phones. So they have hurt their brand tremendously. And who benefits from that the most? Apple does. Now, some people might just be devout to Android. So maybe they get the Google Pixel phone or something like that. But I think Apple will steal a lot of those customers away that Samsung had. I think they're going to steal a lot of them away, and then they get in that Apple ecosystem, and then boom, 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 and then generally people stay in the Apple ecosystem once they come in. So that is why I see iPhone units being great. More sell-through. It's the main product cycle of the iPhone. You had it in 9 more days in the previous iPhone as far as the quarter goes. And with Samsung and their problems, I think Apple's the beneficiary of this whole situation. So that is where we have the iPhone units. Now, as far as revenue, you notice I have revenue up, and one of the reasons is because iPhone's units are going to be up. iPad units are going to be up a little bit. Mac sales could be a little down, so that could hurt revenue a bit, which is why revenue is not up probably as much as you might think it might be with these other units. Service is going to be up. That's going to be a great thing, in my opinion. And revenue will also be helped by something that I didn't have listed here, which is Apple Watch 2. That was on sale for 2 weeks during this quarter, whereas last year there was no new Apple Watch. There was no new Apple Watch last year. This year there is a new Apple Watch, and it got 2 weeks of sell-through. Now, Apple Watch is not like a huge seller. It's not an iPhone seller. It's not even maybe an iPad seller, but it will add up to hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue, if not $1 billion or so. So that is going to help the company tremendously. All this being told, I believe revenue will be up. I believe EPS will be up year over year. And EPS will be up not just because they sold more in revenue, but also because the company's bought back a lot of shares since last year. Everybody knows Apple's buying back stock left and right. So between revenue being up a bit, between buyback of shares, I believe EPS will come in better than last year and way above what analysts expect. And if my numbers are true, imagine what this is going to do to Apple stock. Even if my numbers are anywhere close, because analysts have just beaten down Apple as far as not expecting anything from them. And this is Apple's real chance to just blow everybody away and like, holy smokes, Apple's back type thing. This is their chance. If this happens, this will be huge for Apple's stock, in my opinion. We'll see what happens as time goes on. But there you go, guys. You have it. You have what my Apple numbers are, what I expect the company to do. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll look like a fool and I'll be nowhere close. Maybe I will. I can tell you a lot of times, most of the time, I would say 85, 90% of the time, I'm very close to being accurate on the earnings. I'm generally right there around where I expect revenue and EPS. If it's a company I follow good, I'm usually never super far off. But this is kind of scary because I'm so far off of where analysts are that maybe this is the time I can make a fool of myself. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We're going to wait 2 or 3 weeks until they report their numbers, and then we will know. Thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. I talk a ton about personal finance. I talk a lot about the stock market and do videos like we did today. I also talk about business, entrepreneurship. Thank you for watching and have a great day.